Hey everybody, welcome to the very first Tech Time with Tammy. So today it's going to be what is solids content and why does it matter to you? So solids content is the material film build left on the substrate after the solvent leaves. So in your very first 12 to 24 hours, that is when all of the solvent is leaving for the very first initial cure. Now again, solvents are going to evaporate for the days after that, 30, 60, 90, as all traditional urethane clears do. But your immediate amount of solvent that leaves is in the very first 12 to 24 hours. Once that starts happening, that's when you get the amount of solids that's left on the substrate. If you're spraying a 66% solids clear, like many of you do that are using Revolt, it means that 66% of the solids will be left on the substrate and 34% of it will have evaporated out with the solvents. Now that does happen, like I said, over time, but your first initial burst of that happening will be in the first 24 hours. So in the very end, why does this matter to you? Well, one, there's a couple reasons. The more solids you get, remember everything starts at 100 and then everything leaves from 100. So everybody's clears at 100 and then how much solvent evaporates is where your solids is left. Realize the majority of people on the market right now are using anywhere between 35 and 45% solids clears. The vast majority of all of you are. Now you'll say, no, I'm using high solids. You think you're using high solids. Read the text sheets on what you're actually using. The majority of clears that you guys all talk about in the groups every single day, on average, the three most popular clears everybody talks about right now are 40% solids. That means that 60% of the solvent is leaving and only 40% of it is remaining on the substrate. If you don't put enough material film build down, you'll burn through in the aggressive cutting and buffing if you choose to do that. That is the reason so many guys have to do 5, 6, 7 coats of clear in a session, because they realize the clear they're spraying isn't that high of solids and they have to have the material film build to do that cutting and buffing. That said, you could use a clear that is a higher solids content that gets you there that much faster with less labor, less time around the car, which can cause all kinds of problems, and you get it done faster with more higher film build in 3 coats versus doing 5, 6, 7, 8 coats. A lot can go wrong in those extra coats that won't go wrong necessarily in just 3. So cost is a huge factor into solids content, meaning the higher the solids, the more you're paying for actual material landing on the substrate versus just solvent that's going in the air. You're spending $1,000 for a clear kit and 60% of it is going in the air. That's kind of crazy, right? Whereas you could buy a clear for $332.95 and you have 66% of it and not 34% of it evaporating out. So the solids content is the material left on the substrate versus the material that goes in the air, which is the solvent. The higher the solids, the better the longevity. The lower the solids, the less the longevity you're going to have. Hope that helps. Thanks.